Now, here's an incredible story. In 1981, when Tina Renton was just 6 years old, she was sexually abused by her stepfather, David Moore.
The abuse continued for 9 years throughout her childhood, but it took 20 years and a law degree for Tina to find the courage to break her silence and make her stepfather pay for his horrific crimes. And Tina is with us now. Tina, so lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming in. This is an extraordinary story, and thankfully one that has at least some closure. It started at the very beginning, 1981. You're 6 years old. Your mother remarries a man, David Moore. When do you remember the abuse starting? You were very young, weren't you?
Yeah, I was very young. I was about 6, and it started around bath time. He was encouraged to bath myself, and it was from that the abuse went forward. Absolutely.
And you say you didn't know at the time. You obviously didn't know that anything was wrong.
No. Being 6 years old, you don't know what's right and wrong. I knew I didn't like it, but sex crimes wasn't spoken about 30 years ago like it is today, so I just didn't know it was wrong.
And then at 7, it started to get worse?
Absolutely.
In what way?
It moved on from just mere touching to more invasive, more internal touching.
And this was bedtime, you know, when you go to bed, and you say that that he was like a Jekyll and Hyde character.
Absolutely.
That he would be this lovely stepfather during the course of the day and then turn into a monster at night. Absolutely,
yes. It would be in the middle of the night that he would come into my room when the rest of the house was asleep.
And he would, in a way, you didn't have a brilliant relationship with your mother at the time. And this man within the day, like Phil just said, this sort of Jekyll and Hyde character in the day, he'd be very loving towards you, very protective towards you, and he'd buy you gifts in a way as a kind of blackmail.
Absolutely.
To keep you quiet, don't say anything, and I'll buy you this. But very confusing for a child of that age.
Yeah, but it wasn't that if he bought me a packet of sweets, there was ever a conversation that said, if I give you these, don't tell anybody else what you're doing. It was just an unsaid rule that it just wasn't going to be spoken about. They was never used in the sense of a blackmail. I suppose that was part of the grooming process.
Yeah. But he made you feel special.
Yes, he did. And
then at 11, there's a sex education class at school, and there's something of a dawning realisation in your head.
Absolutely.
What happened?
The teacher was given a lesson as she would have been normally for myself and the rest of the class. And we was sat in front of a screen, to watch a recording of, you know, what we need to learn when we're 11. And at that point then the reality hit that actually what he was doing, it wasn't right. It was so wrong, and that I knew at that point that he, even though, like I say, I'd never liked it, I knew what he was doing was just so wrong.